down? It's DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another one. As you can see, we are inside of the pink shed. People used to call it a pink shed, and it does look pink on the camera. Do not get me wrong, but it was a shade of purple that I actually picked when I originally came to paint this. So you might be thinking, Noble, why are you doing a stream back in here? Are you moving back here? No, I'm not. So this stream is a move update, and if you've not been watching the previous streams, then you'll be unaware that I am moving property again. So this stream is going to be a little bit more of a deep and personal stream to the usual like happy chappy, but I'll still try and make it as positive as I can. And there's a few things that I've been wanting to say for a while that due to reasons that have been going on, I've not been able to say about these reasons while I was living at the old property. And as from Monday, I won't be living at the old property. So some of you will be aware, if you've been following the channel and you've been following the streams for a long time, that round Halloween time last year I moved property. I moved out of my mum's house, and I'm not going to go into the full situation of why I moved out of my mum's house, but let's just say I didn't have a choice in the matter because we were being evicted essentially. So as a result of eviction, someone kindly got me some help and found a place for me to move into, which was like a shared accommodation. So shared accommodation was never really something on my bucket list, and I was never really something I ever really wanted to do. But at the time, it was like go there or go nowhere else kind of thing. So I took it, um, and I moved in. And when I moved in, everybody all seemed like nice as pie. Um, and just essentially, I thought, yeah, this might not actually be so bad. And then the hell started. The hell all broke loose. So I began living in this shared property, and let's just say the experiences of this shared property has definitely been some experiences. So first of all, the actual house itself, it's a complete shithole. It's a complete dump. The place is filthy. And when I say filthy, it is like untidy, like not untidy. It is like pure mucky. The kitchen is absolutely disgraceful. The hallway, the landing that goes upstairs to some of the rooms are literally not like somewhere you want to even be in. There is like bits all over the floor. There is like cigarette ends. The place is just absolutely horrible. So the only place I really felt safe, or where I liked being inside of that house, was in my bedroom, because that was the only place where it was my own place, and it was outside. It was away from everybody else's muck. It was in my own space, my own room. Um and and the place just genuinely was mucky. But I just thought, if I sort of keep myself to myself and keep my things clean, then I won't go too far from wrong. And then the hell really started. So there's a guy who lives in the shared house, and I don't know his last name. I've never really been that interested to inquire about what his last name is, but I do know what his first name is, and I am going to name it on the stream, because I don't have beef with a lot of people, but this guy, I want this guy to literally, like, just literally have the worst life ever, after the hell he's put me through. And there's a guy in there, and he goes by the name of Will. And when we moved in, he seemed nice, and he seemed all right, and he was quite helpful when I was like moving boxes in and stuff, and he was quite helpful, to the point where I thought, you know what, thank you for the help. And I was literally gonna like even buy him a present and say, look, you know, thank you for helping me move in. But when after I moved in, he turned out to be the biggest cunt on planet Earth. Now, it all starts with the following day after my first night in the shared house. So I never really wanted to move in there anyway, but I was giving it a try. And the first night, it was all right. I like I got all moved in and stuff, and I'd kind of just literally like I had a couple of work things on, and I came back to the house, and I was just sat in my room, and everything was all packed up still, more or less. I hadn't really put stuff where I wanted it, and the only thing that was really made up was my bed. And anyway, I slept the first night, and then the next morning, I got up for work and made myself some breakfast. I had work and stuff. And the doors inside of the shared house, they're like fire doors. So as soon as you let go of the doors, they go and they shut and they slam. And I did that not realizing it was a fire door. And then I came downstairs, and and you've got to understand, like, this was my first time in a shared house. I was very new to it all, and so I came downstairs and I was just making my breakfast. And yeah, I might have been a little bit loud, but I wasn't intentionally being loud. And anyway, the prick called Will came down and started having a chunter at me, and I can understand, like, I'm a big believer, like, if I do something wrong, I want somebody to tell me that I've done something wrong. But the issue that annoyed me, it was the way that he was talking to me, and he was talking to me like a piece of dog shit, essentially. And he was talking to me really rude, his tone of voice, and I just did not like the way that he was talking to me. He was absolutely doing my treeing. He was doing my treeing, and just essentially he was just and he really put me down. And I had a really horrible day from that day on. And from that morning, the rest of the day, like, I just didn't feel good, and I just thought, I ain't gonna like it in here if this is the way the cunt's gonna speak to me. And ever since then, he has been a complete prick to me. He's spoke to me like a piece of shit. He's treated me like a piece of shit. He's done things to annoy me. He's there's like stories and things that I can tell you. He's been tormenting me, bullying me for months. Although I wasn't, like, obviously it was getting to me, but I wasn't like getting upset or crying or anything. But I just thought, what, I can't live here anymore. Like, it was just like literally, um, it was just literally, like, really doing my head in. So he was doing loads of things. So, like, he'd constantly have a go at me. So, like, I'd make a cup of tea, and I'd be too loud. And then I'd like make a bit of food, and I'd be too loud, and he'd come down, oh, you're being too loud. I'd have a shower, and then he'd like come upstairs. You just had a shower, and you haven't done this and you haven't done that, blah blah blah. And just little things, and he was pecking at me and pecking at me. And then when I first moved into the shared house, I was only given one key. So, well, I was given two keys, but you're supposed to get two keys for the front door. So you get two keys for the front door, and then you get a key for your bedroom door, so you can lock your bedroom door, because that's like your actual place itself, and then the rest of it is like the shared area. So, there was a top lock and a bottom lock, and the social worker, who was supposed to be a social worker and was supposed to be doing a job, to help me with my needs and support me. It was supposed to give me a key for the bottom lock, and had never given me a key for the bottom lock. And he was using it to the advantage. So he would like purposely lock me out. So like I'd go to work and I'd come in at like 8 at night, and he'd lock this bottom lock, and because I didn't have a key for it, I couldn't lock it from the outside. He was doing like loads of shit, like locking me out on purpose. So like I'd go to a gig and then I'd come back at like 5 in the morning. You know how it is when you go to a gig, you get back in the early hours. And he was locking me out on purpose with this bottom lock because I didn't have a key, so I had no choice but to knock somebody up at that time. Otherwise, do you know what I mean? I'm on the streets. And then he'd moan like, "Oh, you coming here knocking me up at this time?" And I'm like, "Well, I've got no choice." And he's like, "Use your key." And then I'm like, "I haven't got the flaming key." And then I eventually got the key situation sorted. But then there was still latching the door. So you could physically latch the top lock, so even if you put a key in, it wouldn't open. And he was doing that. And in the end, I got the social workers to actually change the lock, so you couldn't physically latch the lock. So like if you have a key, you can get in no matter what. But if you don't have a key, you obviously can't get in. So he didn't like that. And then he used to do loads of other daft shit, like he'd hide all the plates and pots. So when you go downstairs, there'd be no plates, there'd be no pots, there'd be no cups. And I'm thinking like, you know, this is just stupid. This is just getting beyond the joke. And I was buying stuff, um, you know, like a new plate and a new bowl, and then like it was disappearing. So it got to the point where I had to start hiding stuff in my bedroom, and I'd buy things like a carton of milk and they'd drink it all, and then I'd buy stuff like, you know, like boxes of cereal and stuff and bread loaves and you know, like my actual, you know, stuff that I need to eat, and then literally he was just like eating it all and hiding it all, and just really like mega doing my head. And it got to the point where one time just recently, I cooked myself a meal. I cooked some sausage and chips before I was going out somewhere, and I got it all cooked, and I went into the cupboard and there was not a single plate in sight, and I had to eat it out of a metal tin, like, you know, like a little tin that you'd put a pizza in to put in the oven. And I was at this point, I was just like, this is beyond a fucking joke. And then he'd do other things, like he'd put a Bluetooth speaker on, and he'd put the volume like to the maximum, and he'd like walk up and down the hallway going past my bedroom door, with this speaker just playing full blast. And then he started threatening to knock me out and started threatening to hit me, and started saying like have I spat blood in the bath or something, which, you know, obviously I haven't done. And then like, if I find out it's you, I'm gonna slap you, and started threatening. And on numerous occasions, I was trying to tell the social worker, like, look, you know, the way he's talking to me, it's not on, and the way he's acting and the things he's doing, it's not on. And she was just like, he's got mental health, and shit like that. And I'm thinking, all right, yeah, you might have mental health, but it doesn't excuse the way you speak to somebody. You can have mental health or not, but you don't talk to somebody, like a prick. Like, I suffer with learning difficulties myself. Do you know what I mean? And I struggle with a few things, but that doesn't make me talk to somebody, like I'm better than them, and like they're a piece of dirt. And the way he was speaking was absolutely horrible. I hated it. I could not stand it. And I reported it on numerous occasions. The social worker herself, just to say she was supposed to support and do a job, was just absolutely shocking. She was supposed to come and see me once a week on a Tuesday. And yeah, I get quite busy with work, and sometimes I have to go into work meetings and all the rest of it. And sometimes I would text her and say, look, I ain't going to be here at the house. Do you mind if you don't see me this week? I am all right, everything's going grand, because maybe it was at that point. But there was like numerous times where I'd be like texting her, like, are you coming to the house today? Are you coming? I could do to speak to you. And then you just don't hear anything back. And I'm like, you're supposed to help and support me. She was supposed to help me like with filling in like loads of forms for different things and getting things sorted and getting the ball rolling with things and getting things going on and getting things happening, and she just wasn't. And I just got to the point where I was getting fed up. So anyway, cut a long story short, I had a friend who lived in like a share, like a supported accommodation, like a supported flat, and it's with a company called Riverside. And I already sort of knew quite a bit about Riverside because I've had previous friends that have lived in these Riverside accommodations, and I've always kind of liked what they've done, and I've always kind of liked what they do. And they've always, like, when I've met like staff members before, they've always seemed like really helpful, and like they go above and beyond for people's needs. So I just messaged my friend out of the blue, and just kind of, because I thought at this point I need to sort something. I can't just continue living in this place. I'm just gonna go insane. I'm just gonna go crazy. I'm gonna start deteriorating and it not being myself anymore, which is not how I want to be. I'm always quite a happy little chappy. I'm always having fun and a laugh and looking forward to what I'm doing next with music things, and the upcoming gigs and the next track I'm making. And it just got to the point where I didn't even want to do that, and it got to the point where I didn't feel comfy eating at home anymore. So I was eating out all the time, and that wasn't doing my bank balance any good. So like every day I'd like go to, say, like, I don't know, like a cafe or like a takeaway, or I'd get something like that, that you can sort of eat on the go kind of thing, that you don't have to cook, because I didn't want to cook at home. And then I got to the point where I wasn't making drinks at home. So I'd like, I'd buy like a big bottle of drink, and then I'd just keep that in my room and I'd drink that rather than making like hot drinks and stuff. Occasionally, like I would like bring myself the confidence to go make a hot drink if he was in bed or something, or if he like wasn't present. And I just thought this can't, this can't go on anymore. So I got in touch with my friend, and just said, look, do you know how I can get in touch with somebody from Riverside, or how I can just essentially, sort of see if there's anything available, or how I can, at least get on the list and get the ball rolling, to move to the next sort of step in my life. And she put me in touch with a social worker who was very helpful. He was actually really, really helpful, and he gave me a form to fill in, and he said, look, we haven't got any flats going at the moment. There might be a flat in our block becoming available, but we're not certain at the moment, kind of thing. There isn't anything at the moment, but if it does come available, he gave me a list. He gave me a form to fill in to essentially put me on the Riverside list. So I was happy with that, because I thought, and he said that Riverside is very quiet at the moment. There isn't like loads of people like trying to get flats with us. So there's a good chance that you would get into a Riverside building. And I just thought, well, this is going to be even better, than this is going to be better than what I'm going through at the moment, kind of thing. So I filled a form in, and cut a long story short, the flat in their block became available, and I was hoping to get in their block, because the block, where the block of flats are, they're really like handy for like all the things I do. So like I'm a couple of minutes away from the city centre. I'm like, you know, about sort of like 10, 20 minutes away from work, rather than being like sort of, you know, 45 minutes to an hour away. You know, everything I need to do, like the city centre is like literally just there. You know, and I am literally like, you know, just so close and so handy for everything that, you know, it's just obviously a really good thing in that sense. So the woman had sadly had a stroke. Now obviously I don't wish illness upon people. That is not something that I want to do. You know, obviously it was a terrible thing that she was ill. She sadly had a stroke and she was no longer able to make the stairs to get up to the flat. So um, the flat became available, and you know, I'd obviously told this, I'd met this social worker from Riverside, and I told him, I said, look, you know, I'm getting bullied in this place where I live. It's, you know, it's sending me through the roof. I'm starting to feel down in myself. I don't feel confident in like, you know, I used to like doing a bit of cooking, and you know, I said, look, I don't feel confident in doing this kind of stuff anymore because he's picking at me every single time I do. So he kind of like, just when the flat became available, like worked his backside off to make sure that, you know, he could offer it to me, and that became the case. And went in and had some meetings with them. I had a look around the flat, and they said, look, we'd love to offer you the flat. You know, and they're gonna help me with so much, you know, different things, and so many different things that I need help with. And it's really good. It's amazing. I couldn't be happier. I've had a look at the flat, and the flat is absolutely amazing. It's gorgeous. It's clean. You know, we're gonna convert the front room into like a little music studio room, just the area where I'm gonna do all my music stuff. And then I'm just gonna have my own little place, and I can invite my friends round. You know, they can come round and make tunes with me, and they can eat food with me, and come round and have a drink. And you know, I like, one thing I've not been able to do for a long time, even before I moved into the shared house, was really have friends round because of my situation outside of music. So now it's kind of like, look, you've got your own place, it's your own you. You can have in who you want and who you don't want, and you know, there is no rule saying you can't have anybody in. And you can have, you can even have like pets. You can have like cats and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, oh, like buzzed about that. Like, not that I necessarily want a cat. Like, my mum has a cat, and when we left our old house, it went to somebody else's house, and he's sort of been looking after it for us. But the cat's kind of got settled there now. And as much as I could have the cat if I wanted, it's kind of like, where the cat lives at the moment is like a bungalow, and it can get outside, and it doesn't go outside all the time, but it does go outside. And I just kind of feel like, you know, a block of flats, like to have a cat like on the sort of like second to top floor of like a block of flats is just, you know, it's not going to be good for getting outside. You don't want it to kind of think like, oh, I'll try and get out the window. And plus, I do so many, like, I work all the time, and then I gig on the weekends. So when I gig on the weekends and stuff, like, sometimes I'm away for the night. Sometimes I come and stay at my grandparents, and I couldn't leave the cat. So it's not an ideal situation for me to have pets at the moment, like a cat. But it's handy to know that you can. And like, if I did have to take a cat on, or take the cat on in like an emergency, you know, because I wouldn't see the cat with like nowhere to go. But it's like a really good thing. So yeah, so I got offered the flat. I had a look around. I was like, I love the flat. And they was just, you know, we want to make sure that you're going to be all right, and you're going to be happy here, and you can afford everything, and we'll support you in everything. And you know, they were kind of, as much as they love to have me on board, they were just making me aware that, you know, I could kind of like, you know, I could kind of like back out if I wanted to, kind of thing. Like, you know, if I thought like, you know, this is a bit like a big step and it's a bit crazy, and if I thought like I'm not ready for it, and I thought, do you know what? I am damn right ready for it, and I can't wait to be ready for it, and I can't wait to move. Um, so everything just sort of escalated. And then the next minute, I was told this week that, oh, you've got the flat and you can move in next week. So I'm moving in on Monday, which is not tomorrow, the day after. And I'm like proper, really happy. So there you go. So Monday is the day. I'm moving in, moving all my stuff in, and I'll keep updating you and stuff like that. But Monday is the day. So make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. To Will, you are an absolute idiot. I hope who moves in after me. I hope he just gives you like the most horrible time ever, because you deserve it, and I can't wait to be free from you. And if you do happen to ever stumble across this, watch this, whatever it may be, just so you know, I have taken 3 of my black mugs back. I have taken my frying pan back, so I don't know what you're going to do for your egg sandwiches, but I had great pleasure in taking that back. My nan bought that frying pan for me, and he got quite a lot of use out of it, making fried egg sandwiches and stuff like that. He won't be able to do that now. I've also taken my measuring jug back, because that was mine, and I've also taken back my glass tray with the red lid that was full of knife and forks and spoons. And granted, there's a few forks and things that are missing now, and I have bought some new ones for the new place as well, but I've taken that back. And I've also taken great pleasure in taking some chip spice as well. And you know, it's your own doing, you know. And I'm taking back the things that I bought. Granted, I can't get like some of the plates back and some of the bowls back, and I'm just going to have to say like salutations to them. But at the end of the day, I got back some of the stuff. So I'm quite happy, and all of the main stuff like my music stuff and everything that was in my room, that has all obviously come into the new place with me. So all I've got to do now on Monday is get the keys to the new place, and then just literally go back to the old house like one last time, or maybe a couple of last times, but you know, the last day more or less, and just essentially you know, start loading all the you know, the packed boxes and everything, and take that to the new place and start moving in, and just essentially go from there really, and just see what happens. So make sure to like, comment, share. I'm gonna end this now because I'm about to go and walk and get some fish and chips. Looking forward to some nice sea and land. So make sure to like, comment, share, and we'll see you soon.